up no solid plan. Spins a yarn, recants a tale. The esoteric approach won't fail. Tune in, it's time for Common Man. Common man, charms the housewives like no one can. What'd you shoot? Where'd we play? Non-stop nonsense on deck today. Tune in, it's time for Common Man.
Oh boy! Why should anybody aspire to be a common man, an average man? Do you realize what it means to be average? That means you're the best of the lousiest, and the lousiest of the best. Now, if we demand more and more for producing less and less, while the have-not nations encourage and inspire and indeed require hard work and maximum effort, if we deify the common men while they encourage and reward the uncommon ones, well, the end result of such a lopsided race as that is too obvious to require elaboration.
I mean, it's like, hello? Objects in your mirror may be closer than they appear. We're coming.
Time is running out on Dan Cole's round. Let's go to 15. Bob?
Yeah, John Cole has been visibly angry. He's been talking to himself quite a bit. And it doesn't get any easier here on the par 3 15th hole at Minnesota National. This hole is guarded by two bunkers with a big tree in front of the green. Very challenging tee shot. He's opted to hit a 5-iron here. Cole, unreal pants, fluttering in the wind, mumbling to himself, I've got to have this shot.
Hooty-hoo!
Ooh, that's very well struck. Spinning through the air like a J.J. McCarthy pass. It's right on line. Looking good. Oh, my! It's in! I can't believe what I just saw. A hole-in-one for Cole at the 15th, and he's pointing at patrons in the gallery shouting, you doubted me, you doubted me, you doubted me, and now he's embracing his son, Peter. What a moment between father and son here at the 15th at Minnesota National.
Jimmy drops back, avoids the rush, looking over the middle. It's Deuce, and it's caught. A diving catch. It didn't look like he needed to dive for it, but Deuce intentionally slowed down in order to make the acrobatic, heroic catch. I haven't seen that move since a certain Dan Cole intentionally slowed down in Little League Coon Rapids baseball tryouts. Like father, like son, and that's a Thunder first down.
Well done, young man!
He's the clown from Brown. He's the fourth in the North. This is the Common Man, Dan Cole.
And the Grum begins in 5, actually 3, but 5 sounds like more than 2. Greetings, good afternoon, and welcome once again to TCO Performance Center. I like to call it the new Winter Park in honor of the late Max Winter, one of the original owners of the soon-to-be big game world champion Minnesota Vikings. I'm the Common Man, Dan Cole, along with Tennessee, and this is our continuing coverage of Training Camp 2026, and we'll be here until 3. If you're looking for a show that's poised, polished, and professional, wait until 3 o'clock. That's when Barrero comes in. If you're looking for someone who's unprepared, uninterested, uninformed, and unapologetic about it, a lot of uns, you've come to the right place, because I'm here for the food. We're sharing our space with the NFL Network today, and I like it because they've shared food with us.
Yeah.
I said, thank you. She said, thank the Vikings. I think I found the fear. I'm really, it's the friends and family suites over there with all the good food. And I'm thinking to myself, I'm really not. I'm more of an acquaintance, I think, than a friend or a family. Do they include acquaintances? Or is it
You're
just
not extended family.
And I'm not extended family.
No.
That's PA, so I just don't even know where I fit into there. I feel like, that Land of Misfit Toys thing. I feel like a nosy neighbor. I go in there and I just barge right in. And, I've learned one thing, Tend to be, if you act like you're supposed to be there, people won't question
They ignore you.
They just ignore you. It's when you go in timid and look around like you're sneaking around. They go, hey, you with the face, what are you doing? And I go, I'm just like, you come in and you act like, I'm supposed to be here. So I did that earlier today. I did it yesterday. And then when they say, well, I say, well, I'm a family member. They go, who? And I go, well, I'm Christian Darrisaw's dad. Which.
A lot of similarities.
Yeah, well, that's it.
Yeah.
It seems unlikely. But how do they know for sure, right? So what are they going to say to me? So
he could be adopted.
Yeah, that's exactly right. Is this padded practice again today, or are we done with
I would
that
assume
nonsense?
so. I mean, it'll be a walkthrough first.
Well, I don't even understand the padded practice because they really don't hit each other very hard, at least from what I saw. And then we left before they really got into the meat of it. And then from what I read in the Fish Wrap Factory today, it was did McCarthy struggle or was he good? I can't understand anymore about it. And I don't know how much we take from it. But we're here anyways. That's what we're going to do here out at TCO Performance Center. You know what else I like about this place? Is, the Vikings parent, who I got to meet? Yeah, well, I actually met him once before, but I haven't seen him in years. So I was hitting her with Bob, time for two more Hagen after the show. Rosen, by the way, got a cart back to his car. Hagen brought him back.
Yep.
Yeah. So Hagen brought him back to his car. Hagen comes back, and we're sitting there, we're just, talking.
Does he tip Hagen in that situation?
Well.
He's like an Uber driver.
Well, it's Mark Rosen.
Yeah.
So it's, I'm sitting there, and all of a sudden, Sir Mark Wilf comes over.
Mm-hmm.
And he looked at me with kind of a wary eye, like, who's this?
How do we let this riffraff get in here?
Exactly.
Yeah.
So Hagen introduces him to me, and he goes, "Oh, yeah, I know you," or "I've met you," or he said something like that. But he didn't really get in close. He kind of tried to stay as far away. I think he was nervous, But Sir Mark was here yesterday. And did you say Sir Mark was going to address the assembled media sometime
He's
today?
supposed to, yeah. I don't know if he'll have access to it because he's not doing it from the normal spot that like KOC would do it from.
Yeah.
But if he does, we
might sneak it a pick. Again, sometimes ownership interviews can...
I miss the Ziggy days, though. No offense to Mark, but Ziggy Wolf, National Football League.
Storied franchise. I think a lot of people know his story. It's just funny. We're almost polar opposites, right? I think people know the story by now. When Ziggy Wolf, he loved football as a kid. His favorite team was New York Giants, storied franchise, National Football League. So when he was a kid, he had the option. He had tickets to a preseason Giants football game or tickets to Woodstock. He went to the Giants
He went to the Giants game.
He became a billionaire. I would have taken the tickets to Woodstock, and I would have died of a drug overdose.
Sure.
So, he made the right decision, I think.
He had a fork in the road.
He had a fork in the road. He went to the road that went to riches, and I went to the life that was ruins.
That decision, yeah.
Yeah, riches to ruins, and I went to ruins, and he went to riches. But that was his decision he made. He made a good one. So, the NFL Network, they've got quite the setup here.
They do.
Cameras.
A little more technology than us.
There's more technology than us. We just hook up a little box and plug it in and go, testing, 1, 2, 3, and we're
That's
off
exactly
and
what
running.
happened.
I saw Schefter's here.
Rappaport, you mean?
Rappaport. I'm sorry.
Yeah.
Rappaport's here. And he, I'll tell you what, he was already working. He was inside the Friends and Family when he had the laptop open, and he's just studying all sorts of charts and graphs, and I'm looking at the scorecard of the Royal for later this afternoon. That's the difference between he and I.
When I arrived today, it was him and Nolan Teasley having a conversation.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
So
probably
inside
information. So if you see any Vikings inside information and it's an anonymous, I'm going with Nolan Teasley as
there you go.
As the one
I like
who
it.
Yeah.
So you're sort of like the spy. You're the mole. You're the one that you see who it really was, and you're willing to. They used to say back in the gangster days, if you were gonna turn somebody in, we'd call it drop a dime. Meaning you'd go to the phone booth and put it. Do you know what a phone booth is?
A what?
A phone booth. Back in the olden days, before they had cell phones, if you weren't at home or your office, they would have these booths. Clark Kent, you've seen Clark Kent. He would. It was either used to make a phone call or for Clark Kent to change out of his suit into a Superman outfit, right? And you would go in there and you'd put a dime in there. And
what's a dime?
Well, there's a lot of different definitions for that, but it's a coin.
What's a coin?
Yeah, I know. Nobody has change, and nobody uses change anymore. I wrote a check today. I had to write a check. Do you know I've never had a checking account in my entire life? Never. I always paid cash for everything, and my wife has the checking account.
So you've just said, okay, yes, your wife had a checking account.
Yeah, we had cash. Yeah. But here's
your money's being placed somewhere. It's not just in the cushions of your couch at home.
So or left in my pockets like you do when you come home from work at night. But so I had to write this check out, and I said to my wife, "Could you make a check out for me?" She goes, "Well, can I just leave a check for him in a hurry to get to work?" Okay, she goes.
So you had to write out
I don't know how to write it out. I'm looking at it, and it's like where it gets me is when there's cents involved, and I don't know what I'm supposed to write.
Yeah.
So it's like you know, I can do the $295.68, right, where you write the actual number.
Yeah, the
but then when you have to spell it out, 265.68 cents. Do you write the word? I wrote the word cents, and then it says dollars after. So they're probably, it made no sense, pardon the pun.
Yeah.
Then I signed it, and I hope it doesn't bounce.
I was going to say that one might not go through.
Yeah, it might not go through, and I can't worry about that. The other thing I like about this place is they spare no expense. Have you seen? Now, I know that you and I oftentimes will go over to the maintenance building and use the restroom there.
Yeah.
It's nice. It's a really nice restroom. The porta potties from Biff's, they have the really fancy ones. I mean, they're nicer than the bathrooms I have at home. They're just beautiful, and they're well kept. There's little flowers, and there's paintings on the wall and stuff. I mean, they spare no expense, but you got to climb up like 3 stairs to get up into the place.
Yeah.
But they're all individual. It's not like you're sharing with anybody else. But what I'm thinking to myself, is this weird that I think I want a urinal in my house?
No, not at all.
Do people do that? Are there people that have your home? I just think would be. I don't know why. I just would like it because it's and I don't know why at private residences they don't have more of those because I just love to have one, man. And so I'm gonna think the only thing is if you go to a bathroom remodeler guy, he's probably gonna go really, and then he's gonna charge you an arm and a leg. So I don't know.
As someone who's 2 young boys, I wish we would have had urinals in our house.
Exactly. Yeah, that's exactly it. But that's neither. Hey, thanks for coming by. We appreciate that. So, we've got we have Blake Cashman today will be our guest.
Yes.
Yeah, we the Vikings offer up. They throw us a bone every day and offer up a player to us. Yesterday was place kicker Will Reichert. He was very fun to have on the air. Blake Cashman we've had on a couple of different times.
I think it'll be like 3rd year in a row we're going to have him on.
Local kid makes good. Played over at Eden Prairie. Played under Mike Grant. Really good football player. And so he's one of the keys.
Year 1 we cut him off in the middle of the interview because Justin Jefferson showed up.
Yeah. Well, should we remind him of that, or do you think?
We reminded him last year.
Yeah, I did. Maybe I'll remind him again. Why not? So anyway, he'll join us, and then the legendary one, Mark Rosen, who has plenty of TV experience as well. He will join us at about 2:00. So let's take our first break of the program. Broadcasting live from the TCO Performance Center, the new Winter Park. It's our continuing coverage of Vikings Training Camp 2026 right here on The Fan.
The Fan at BigDeck.com will give you a shot to win bonus bucks with the National Cash Contest. Head to KFAN.com. The keyword is dollar for this hour. Keyword dollar. KFAN.com. Keyword dollar.
You're listening to Common, live from training camp on The Fan. Presented by the Minnesota.
9 chances for you to win $1,000 every weekday. It's every hour from 9 a.m. till 5 p.m. To enter keywords and learn more, head to KFAN.com. Bonus Bucks is presented by BigDeck.com.
And peek at the purple here live from TCO Performance Center is brought to you by our friends at Affordable Electric. Minnesota summer storms are not done yet, and they can cause serious electrical damage from lightning strikes to damaged service masts. I still haven't asked Nick or Teresa what a service mast is, but I think it's important to your electrical needs. There's power surges that can happen as well. If something does not seem right after a storm, do not ignore it. Affordable Electric provides safe, code-compliant storm damage repairs across the Twin Cities. 612-331-VOLT. 612-331-VOLT or affordable-electric.com. Affordable-electric.com. Affordable Electric is shockingly affordable. Oh, boy. Even outdoors, you can still feel that shocking experience. So I had some misinformation, which isn't new, right? JJ did struggle early yesterday, but then after we left, apparently maybe that was what it was. We leave, all of a sudden he finished strong. He was zipping the ball all over. Matter of fact, I've heard one media person describe, you can hear
the way it's spinning.
The laces cutting through the breeze.
Sure.
Is how PA
I always love that.
That's how he described J.J. McCarthy's delivery of the football in his rookie year. We haven't seen much of that, but we're still hoping for that. But he apparently played a little bit better. Today they're going to have a more physical practice. It says in the Fish Wrap Factory West Side, the team will hold a more physical practice today after resting several veterans during the lighter day on Tuesday. Vikings had their first padded practice at camp Monday, and Murray and McCarthy, who are both battling for the starting job, both struggled. QBs will look to take a step forward here. I also saw another story. The headline was, is there already a separation in the quarterback battle. And I think maybe it's because I would assume Murray, because of 7-8 years experience in the league, and he's probably catching on to the. I know they always want to make the offense of O'Connor really complicated, but you've been playing football your whole life and video games, so you figure it's not taking him as long as people think. But I would expect, I mean, if the veteran that he is, and he won a Heisman, and did he win Rookie of the Year or runner-up, whatever he was? I mean, you would expect him that he can catch on pretty good, and I would say he's probably a step ahead of that. And then, of course, there's always the cynics amongst us that think, well, there really is no competition. There's no separation here because come game number 1 against Green Bay at Curley, no, it's at U.S. Bank, right?
Yeah.
At U.S. Bank, it's going to be Kyler Murray at quarterback for the Vikings.
Yeah, I'm not where all the Rubes are sitting, where all the Vikings fans are sitting watching the practices, but it sounds like there's been kind of like some jeering, and like apparently there was someone yesterday that made like a mean comment to Jay McCarthy, and both Jefferson and KFC like sneered up in the crowd. So I think Kyler Murray should be the quarterback. I would rather have him as the quarterback. I have nothing against J.J. McCarthy.
Right.
We don't need me to be Richards about it up in the bleachers.
Yeah. Well,
in fact, even if Kyler Murray is the guy, you still want J.J. McCarthy to be good. One, because you still might have to lean on him because Kyler's had a history of injury, or at the very least, the better he plays, the higher his trade value is, and you can send him somewhere else.
Well, I haven't done any serious research on this, Teneby, and this is just all what I would say was the esoteric approach to it. I do think social media has a lot to do with people's behaviors nowadays.
Sure.
And that, because everybody, you see on social media that people just will say or do pretty much anything they want. So I think that emboldens people.
Usually anonymously. Yeah.
Yes, anonymously. Out here, you're up in the crowd, and you've had a couple 13, 14, or at least 6, 7, and your buddies goad you into it, and all of a sudden you yell, hey, McCarthy, your grandma wears army boots, and all of a sudden it's like, what are you doing, and why are you yelling that?
Yeah.
But people like to do that. You've heard me talk about hecklers before. Heckling is an art form, I think, and you have hecklers they're funny, they're timely, and they don't go over the top and do anything insulting. Or what I hate most is when you get the hecklers thrown off.
Vile language.
Yeah, vile language. When you got women and children in the crowd, dude, know your audience, man. It happened when I went to that Giants-Vikings playoff game, the one that we ended up losing to Danny Jones. The same thing. Some guy kept, he wouldn't do it constantly, but half a dozen times during the game, he'd throw out the F-bomb. And now most of this 5 and 6 year olds don't notice. They're just eating their, Frosty malts and hot dogs and popcorn and candy. But I'm still thinking to myself, dude, there's kids here. What's wrong with you? But so maybe that was part of it. Just somebody, but I do think because people take their sports their whole life, just sports so seriously, especially the Vikings, they're bitter. Because McCarthy was going to be their savior. And they're blaming him, I think, more than the Vikings themselves. And I think he might be his own worst enemy, because when you come out with the alter ego thing, eye black, and 9, and, you haven't really accomplished anything yet in the
He didn't do himself any favors.
No, he didn't do any stuff. So I think there are some people that probably are not big fans of his because they feel like they've been let down. Because usually when you get that top 10 quarterback pick, and look at the other guys that were selected in front of him. Other than, I guess, Penix isn't doing particularly well, but the other guys, they've already shown.
They've all had moments.
They've had moments. They show like it looks like they belong in the big league. So, and I don't know what the coaches need to see during practice sessions to understand, who's the better. I guess other than you almost treat it like, well, what happens in practice would happen in the game, and if the guy is, like I think they said that they both struggled in the 2-minute drill on Monday, I believe it was, and yesterday I think McCarthy had some overthrows early, and then he got better later. But yeah, all that goes into the equation. But I think it's going to be Murray, and I've read in a couple of different places. This team is, I think, nationally has a. It almost seems like it's split. Mm-hmm. I'll read some people that go, this team has got a lot of good, their skill position players are good. They got B-flow, the defense. If they get any kind of quarterback play, they're going to be a dangerous team and should be in the playoffs. Then you have others that just say there's too many question marks. The quarterback situation is unsolved. They have no running game. Their line is better, but it's in a couple of places it's still improving.
Lost Grenard.
Yeah, right, exactly.
Yeah.
And so you have a lot of people that are thinking the team will struggle to be a 500 club. And I personally don't know. I've said this, and I get teased for, they say, what have you been, been hanging out with PA too long. I think the team's on the cusp of a playoff spot if things go. It's like all teams. If you stay relatively healthy, you get good quarterback play. They pointed this out again in a national piece today where they were ranking the teams and the coaches and like that. There's another list of the List Radio, Lazy Radio, where they list all the best quarterback or coaches in the league, play callers, calling them best play callers in the league, which immediately piqued my curiosity. That's clickbait to see where they put O'Connell. And when we'll look at that later, and I'm curious to see what you think of the ranking. But it talked about how, when O'Connell's had his number one quarterback healthy, he's won 14 games in 13 games. Well, I would say that would be most teams, though, too, right? If you have a fairly good team, if you have a solid team, may not be the best in the league roster or might not be the worst, but if you have a quality quarterback playing at his best, you're probably going to win double-digit games. So, but I think if it all goes right, whether it is Murray or McCarthy, we both think it's going to be Murray. Let's say it is Murray just for argument's sake. If he plays like he's capable of and like he did in college and they stay relatively healthy, there's no reason, because all the teams in the division, they have their warts. The Lions aren't perfect, nor are the Packers or the Bears. I think I like those three teams top to bottom a little bit better than the Vikings, but not by a lot.
Yeah, it's going to be one of those years where whoever wins the division, I won't be surprised by it, because I literally think all four of them could win the division. There's not an awful team in the division. There's not for the longest time, your Detroit Lions were like the layup, right? Like you were getting 2 wins against the Lions, then it'd come down to Vikings and Packers, or maybe the Bears would threaten. And now this is about the best direction we've seen the Bears looking in a long time. The Lions were the cream of the crop for a couple of years there. Was last year just an injury-filled year that they can bounce back from, or are they going to start trending downward because they had to start paying all these guys that were, and then Green Bay, like I've said before, depending on the injury status of Micah Parsons. If Micah Parsons is playing, they can beat anybody because they were elite defensively when he was in the lineup.
Maybe a Packer fan can correct me if I'm wrong here, but I thought I saw a note just in one of those where they have the little paragraphs on the different teams, and I think it said the Packers offense got ice cold last 4 or 5 games, 5-6 games of the season. It got ice cold, and so
they're not a great skill position team.
Correct.
Right? I mean, Jordan Love's a competent quarterback.
Yeah.
You could say he's a top half of the league quarterback. But the skill position players, I know Packer fans are a little delusional when it comes to this, but their wide receivers have not been great for a while now. They've been dealing with mediocrity at the wide receiver position. Now, their best receiver is probably their tight end who got hurt last year, Tucker Kraft.
Yeah.
Looks like he's going to come back healthy.
He's really good from what I see.
Yeah, so, if Tucker Kraft's playing, I don't know what the status is with Josh Jacobs with the off-the-field issues he has, but they don't have a lot of depth at running back after Jacobs. But when Jacobs playing, he's an above-average running back. But other than Tucker Kraft, all those wide receiver options are just mediocrity. So, and Jordan Love is a good quality quarterback. I don't know if he's, in that elite top 5 category where you can overcome mediocrity at that position. You can lift them up. I don't know if he's got that in him.
Yeah, I tend to agree. Let's take a break. We'll come back. By the way, Peek at the Purple brought to you by Affordable Electric. For all of your electrical needs, Affordable-Electric walkthroughs right now taking place. They'll take a break at about just close to 1 o'clock. The Vikings will go inside, maybe have something to eat, take a little nap, come back out for full padded practice. A little heavier hitting apparently today at 2 o'clock. Sometime between now and 1, we'll be joined by Blake Cashman of the Vikings. He'll talk to us about how his offseason went and how he is looking at the upcoming season, what his thoughts are on that. Mark Rosen will join us at just before 2 o'clock. So all of that and so much more. Hour number 1, halfway through. It's our continuing coverage of Vikings Training Camp 2026, live from TCO Performance Center, the new Winter Park, right here on The Fan.
You're listening to Golden Ticket Raffle. You could win 2 tickets to more than 50 Minnesota sporting events, including the Twins, the Wild, the Timberwolves, Aurora, Lynx, the Loons, Frost, Gopher Sports, and more. Now through September 30th, visit MNSEGoldenTicket.com for locations, hours, and details on how you could win.
It's a bevy of activity out on the practice fields here at TCO Performance Center, the new Winter Park out here in Eagan. It's Training Camp 2026, our continuing coverage here on the Fan. I'm Common. He's tend to be sidestep the purple just for a second. We'll do the old jitterbug around him. The Twins tend to be fresh off, remarkably, deciding to be buyers rather than sellers. Not the first time ever. They get 4 new pitchers, 3 competent relievers, and the Hoffman guy considered to be near top of the line when he's on. And then they got the back end of the order kid from Baltimore. Everybody's excited. And then Joe Ryan last night, his third. Here's how Dan Hayes of The Athletic writes it. He's based here in the Twin Cities. He said, they're clearly in a better place than a year ago, but it might not matter for the Minnesota Twins unless Joe Ryan gets back on track.
Yeah.
And that sums it up exactly. I mean, because, with Pablo Lopez, by the way, Lopez was in the booth last night doing the analysis. It was really interesting to hear a top-flight pitcher, still active, sit there and talk about, what pitches you want to throw here and how you approach this hitter and what the situation is. But he did a nice job last night. But Ryan delivered as Dan Hayes put it, this is putting it mildly, delivered a dud, his third straight subpar effort. He allowed 5 runs, 4 of them earned and 5 1/3. And he has a 9.39 ERA since making his second All-Star appearance in July. And, he's their ace. With Pablo Lopez out for the year, that happened just before the season started. There's no question. He's your best pitcher. And you and I have talked about this. It's like your ace is supposed to be the guy that he pretty much gives you a quality start every time. He's going 6 innings, and most he's going to give up is 3. Back in the days, that really wasn't a quality start, but that's what is considered a quality start now. But he's your guy that's always supposed to give you an opportunity to win, and he generally does. That's 3 games in a row, and if he continues to pitch like this, and they can't get Scooble anymore now because he's playing for the Dodgers. I think that the Twins
and he had
could
a good start the other night.
Yeah. I think the Twins could be in trouble.
I agree. And what is it about the All-Star game where I feel like we've had a history in the Twins' history of guys kind of getting derailed the second half after All-Star breaks, right? Like Justin Morneau once was hitting the cover off the ball, and then he went to the home run derby and lost his swing second half of the season. And Joe was pitching great. He pitches the 1 inning. It's almost like, I don't know, his schedule got thrown off, or maybe he did something to his arm at that moment, because after that first game back, they skipped him in the rotation due to arm fatigue. And then even as of last night, he's not pitching with the same velocity he was earlier in the season, first half of the season. So if they don't get Joe Ryan being your number 1 starter, then it's over for this team.
Well, you mentioned,
and I don't have a lot of hopes for that right now.
Well, no, and you mentioned, is there something wrong with Ryan's arm? Hayes goes on to write, Ryan's current stretch has to be concerning for the team's decision makers because he's clearly not 100% battling what's been described as arm fatigue. This is your inner baseball talk, okay? You don't get a lot of that here, but we're going to give it to you right now. Ryan's 4-seam fastball velocity was down more than a mile per hour from a season average. And that doesn't sound like a lot, but it must be, because if that's what it is, they're not having a lot of trouble figuring him out right now. They asked Ryan whether he's past the arm fatigue, and he stalled before saying, yeah, I guess. So
here's my prediction. In the next day or 2, he's going on the 10-day IL.
Yeah.
I think they're going to send him out a couple.
I think you're right. He agreed a mechanical issue is part of his struggles before conceding, I don't know what's necessarily causing that side of it. So, yeah, it is concerning because, I think Twins fans, players themselves, the organization, members of the media that followed the club were thinking, hey, something different. We're actually adding to the roster. Tom Pohlad said he would if the team was in contention, and we don't necessarily think being a game below 500 is in contention, but it's well documented how weak the American League is in the Central Division. So they go ahead and make the moves, and now without Ryan, I just think they're in all kinds of trouble. And, the guy that did the damage, of course, was Rosen's favorite player, Bobby Witt Jr. I think it was 2-0 maybe it was 3-0. 2 or 3-0 at the time. 2 runners on base. Witt comes up with 2 outs. I think it was the first pitch. He just rifled it down the left field line into the corner. Both runs score on a bad throw by Brooks Lee makes a bad decision on a throw, makes a really bad throw, and that was basically your ball game right there. So,
how about Uber guy?
Yeah.
Guy, was it 5 years he'd gone without winning a major league start, and all of a sudden he's won twice in back-to-back starts against the Twins.
Yeah,
and pitched good in them.
Yes, exactly. And so, it's obviously not good. So it's worth keeping an eye on. But I
mean, through it all, they're still just one game out of a wild card spot. So despite their poor play, they're holding on there. But
tend to be list radio is what kind of radio?
Lazy radio.
And we've got the market cornered on lazy radio. I'm looking at one of those CBS sports stories. Top 10 offensive and defensive play callers entering 2026. So the top 10.
Play callers?
Who's number one?
Number one play caller?
Yeah, who do you think they have as number one?
Shanahan. Reed.
No.
Who am I missing here? Oh, Ben Johnson.
No. West Coast.
Oh, McVay.
Sean McVay, rated as number one. That's how they have it rated as number one. It says McVay's cutting edge was once again on display with the Rams leaning heavily into 3 tight end sets. 30.5% rate of personnel was by far the highest in the league, with the Steelers second at 13.5%. What those percentages and what rate of personnel is, I have no idea, but apparently it's important. Shanahan is at number 2.
Okay.
Number 3?
I would say Andy Reid or Ben Johnson.
It's Ben Johnson at 3 and Andy Reid at 4.
Where's our guy?
Well, do you think he even makes the top 10?
I would think he'd make the top 10.
Who do you think comes in at 5?
Though, last year's not the best year to come off of for these rankings.
Mike McDaniel's in at number 5 from the Chargers.
Ooh. Even though, it was for the Dolphins last year.
Clint Kubiak of the Raiders.
He used to be here.
We didn't need him. He comes in at 6.
Back in our nepotism days.
Liam Cohen of the Jaguars comes in at 7. And then our guy, Kevin O'Connell, at 8.
I'm guessing a year ago at this time he would have been in the top 5.
His highest rank was 4. It doesn't say when, but I bet it was going into last year.
After what he did with Sam Darnold, I'm sure it was.
It says the season figures to be a crucial one for O'Connell, who has alternated excellent seasons with middling ones. He went 13-4 in his debut with Cousins, then 7-10 when Cousins tore his Achilles. 14-3 with old Sam Darnold, had an arm, E-I-E-I-O. Then 9-8 last year while cycling through J.J. McCarthy, Carson Wentz, and Max Brosmer. Brosmer. Murray could hold the key to getting things back on track in Minnesota, and it's a big bet for O'Connell, who will also hope to improve his team's running game. And if I remember last year, he insisted on making the running game more important, and I don't know if it really changed that much. But, of course, if your offensive line isn't particularly healthy and your running backs are, I'm sorry, I think they're average at best. I don't know.
Part of it, too, is you got to have a quarterback that scares you. That opens up stuff for the running game, too.
Yeah, and they haven't had that recently. Now, I like what they said about, or I thought it was interesting what they said was, this season figures to be a crucial one for O'Connell, because I think right now as we speak, there's no hot seat, there's no warm seat, lukewarm. I don't think there's any of that right now with O'Connell. I think they like him. I think he's considered one of the better coaches in the league. Number 8 on the play caller. I think those are all pretty accurate. But we've seen a lot of
1 year away.
Well, that's it. I think it's true, because that's what happens in this league.
The invincibility goes away.
You will see coaches win Coach of the Year, and 2 years later they're fired.
Yeah.
Did they forget how to coach in 2 years?
Paul Molitor.
Yeah, Paul Molitor, manager. He's fired. No, they don't forget. What happens is, it's the old cliche about you can't fire the whole team. So we need to change the man upstairs. We need a new culture. The word culture always comes up, so they have to do that. So, but yeah, if you.
Well, the other thing with KOC, too, is, he's not just a head coach. We don't know how much say he has in personnel, but it leads you to believe he's got more power than most as a coach in determining who comes in here. So
I think you're right.
It's not like he can do the old, wow, they're not supplying me with any talent, because he's contributing to what talent is out there.
Yes, exactly. So I do think they're, and again, really what it comes down to, Timmy, almost half the teams in the league 14 teams make the playoffs. There's 32 teams in the league. That's nearly and with my, Detroit math, we learned to count in Detroit 0-1, 0-2, 0-3. But that's almost half the teams make it. So making the playoffs, I mean, that's a start. It's nice to make it. But then you got to win in the playoffs, and he's made the playoffs twice out of 4 years, and both those times they got beat first game. And the one that really, the one against the Giants was obviously bad because I think they were prohibitive favorites in that game, right? I mean, prohibitive favorites. That was a bad loss. But then when you go in controlling your entire density for your playoff position against the Kitties in the final game. Week 17, you win. You're the number 1 seed with a bye. You lose. You're on the road.
Home field advantage.
Yeah. You lose. You're on the road as the 5th seed, and they lost. And that's where Darnold. I think that's where the team decided we don't want anything to do. The front office and coaching staff said we don't want anything to do with him because he played poorly in that game. They played the Rams. He didn't. Well,
they allegedly made him an offer, so I wouldn't say they didn't want anything to do with him,
true.
but just they had hesitations.
Yeah, they had hesitations.
They didn't want to commit to him.
They didn't want to commit to him. That is exactly right. And, O'Connell had the words where he said, Sam's earned his right to test free agency. He did. He went to Seattle. And did he? What kind of a year did he have last year? I don't recall.
Well, I mean, they won the big game.
Oh, they did?
Yeah, they won the big game.
Oh, so
Jackson Smith and Jigba, his wide receiver, basically just broke a bunch of records.
So it worked out well for Sam.
Yeah. They did all right.
Yeah, did all right for Sam. So I do think, and then but then the Rams game, that wasn't all on Darnold. That offensive line was bad, and the Rams just, McVay. If O'Connell is part of that McVay tree, well, the teacher schooled the student to that one because that was a beatdown in that game. Now, I mean, I didn't remember what the score was. It was 24-7. I didn't think it was that close.
It wasn't as close as the score would indicate.
Yeah, and the score.
Though there was one moment in that game where Andrew Van Ginkel had a chance for a pick six, which was his calling card, right? Like he nails that play more than anyone. If he catches it, I think it would have been a one-possession game. He would have had momentum.
Yes, correct.
That I wouldn't blame the defense in the game, but that play was a pivotal moment.
Yeah, because that's one of the things with Van Ginkel they like is, or we just call him Gink, by the way. If you're extended family
I call him
member.
BG.
Yeah, and he's got that ability to he jumps that route. He knows it's coming and he jumps and makes the tip and catches the pass. So, So whether it's a hot seat season, I don't necessarily think so. But if
we're a year away, though, from the season warming up. If you have a similar season, if you have mediocre to bad quarterback play again.
Or if you have a pretty good regular season, enough to qualify for the playoffs, be it division winner wild card, and you get smoked again in the playoffs, after a while, I think ownership gets... And, I've brought this up on a number of occasions. You oftentimes wonder, how impatient the Wilfs are without... I mean... 2 NFC championship games since they've owned the club, right? 2, and that's it. And they lost both. So they're in it because they like football. It's their hobby. It's what they do. And if they don't make the if they make the playoffs and don't advance, that's 0-3 in the playoffs. And I don't know if he gets fired, but he certainly will be on notice at that point, I think.
Speaking of the Wilfs, Mark Wilf is talking to the media right now. I don't think we have access to it, but. We will be able to get, I think it just ended now.
Okay.
We will be able to get access to it and replay it in the 1 o'clock hour.
All right. A little over 10 minutes to go. Right?
Did I say Mark Wilf? I said Sir Mark Wilf. I apologize if I didn't say that correctly.
They're just finishing up the walkthrough. They got about 10 minutes left. And then Blake Cashman, Viking linebacker.
Straight Cash, homie.
Straight Cash is going to join us. The Eden Prairie product standout under Mike Grant.
So we'll break in about 6-7 minutes.
Yeah, we can do that too. What else? I saw something else that piqued my curiosity. Now this is. Let me dial this story up for you, Tennessee. I did not know. I guess I hadn't been paying as close attention to the WNBA as I once did. But they're an expansion team in Cleveland.
For what sport?
WNBA. They're calling them the Cleveland Sirens.
The Sirens?
The Sirens.
There's a PWHL team named the Sirens, I believe. Yeah.
Now,
I think that's the New York team.
Are you familiar what a siren is?
Well, like a police siren?
No, that's not what we're talking about here. A siren woman is a dangerously alluring, highly magnetic female figure inspired by mythical sea nymphs.
Okay.
Representing a powerful blend of intense confidence, mystery, and captivating seduction. Now, that sounds like my second wife. Of course, she's not been born yet, but that's how you're describing the players on your team.
That's interesting.
Well, it's interesting. I thought it's kind of interesting.
Is Cleveland known for having?
Oh, I don't know
that.
I don't know. You know, they finally had to go from Indians to Guardians. Will they eventually have to change from Sirens
after like 1 year
to the Cleveland Helen Reddies? I mean, it's like
a man came up with this name too, right?
Yeah, I had to. They're mysterious, alluring sea nymphs is what they are. And
I have to look this up now. I've never heard of this.
No, look here.
Is it spelled like a police siren?
Well, sure. There it is right there. I saved it for you. You read it and tell me that I didn't
barely read your phone.
Yeah.
Now I know why you have troubles all the time.
Yeah.
I can't read your phone.
Well, what do you think? It's written in hieroglyphics? I mean, I've got one of those plastic sheets over it so it doesn't break the glass so I can read it, and you're right, I can't see it.
It's also half woman, half bird?
It's a sea nymph. That's what a sea nymph is, I guess. I don't know. How do you name your
mythical
team?
Sea creature from Greek legends, a loud, wailing, alluring person, or an eel-like water salamander? Oh, so it can mean any of those.
Oh, of course it can. That's what they mean. Female team, they're comparing them to salamanders.
They're gonna go with one of the other definitions.
It's like, I mean, come on now. Now, if you're good-natured about it,
they're
right, and you have a sense of humor,
human-like beings with alluring voices. They appear in a scene in the Odyssey.
Yeah.
In which Odysseus saves his crew's lives. Roman poets placed them on some small islands called Serum Scopoli.
Yeah, I've been there before. I vacationed there once.
I've seen the statue of one of them. It's an interesting.
It's
half
statue.
Woman, half bird.
It's half woman. It's like, what is the one guy that's a half horse and a half
centaur?
Yeah, the centaur. Wasn't the guy that pushed the rock up the mountain a centaur? His name was Syphilis, I think. I don't remember.
Sirens were used in Christian art throughout the medieval era as a symbol of the dangerous temptation embodied by women.
Yeah. So that's what they're naming their team after. Their WNBA
Siren
team.
can also be used as a slang term for a woman considered both very attractive and dangerous.
Well, I guess you want your basketball players to be dangerous.
Yeah. Do they have to be attractive?
Well,
and then who's deciding what's attractive? Do they describe the Philadelphia 76ers and LeBron if anybody's attractive on that team?
Are they like all in on this name? Have they like bought the website and did all the drawn up the logos, or can they still change?
Well, here's what
I'd move on.
I don't know. Maybe everybody's on board with it. Maybe we're making a bigger deal of it than we should. I don't know.
Can you find these in Lake Erie?
I don't think they can. The story says, Dateline Cleveland, Joe Reedy writes the piece. Cleveland's WNBA expansion team has had three priorities in the franchise's name. It had to have its own identity. Mission accomplished. Not related to the Cavaliers. It needed to tie into Lake Erie, and the fans wanted something progressive.
We went back to the medieval era.
I
don't know how progressive that is.
Yeah. Dan Gilbert's Rock Entertainment Group, which has owned the Cavs since 2005, paid $250 million expansion fee for Cleveland's return to the WNBA. And that's walking around money for him. $250 million is nothing. I mean, he probably owns homes that cost that much. Braxton, along with former Rockers players, were also present at Tuesday's event. Janice Braxton, who played for the Rockers for 3 seasons, narrated a video introducing the name and the theme of Hear the Call. Hey, big spender, spend a little dime on me. I mean, I don't know.
This is one of those where they saw, Kraken worked out really well for Seattle. Like, all these Mammoth for Utah, all these mythical things are working well. Well, let's go with that.
Let's go with the Sirens. Because that's the way they would describe, Hollywood starlets back in the day. That's old school now. They don't refer to it, but, they went from sirens to blonde bombshells and then whatever words they use to describe. But that's what they would describe it. I guess it was considered a compliment.
Yeah. So the Frost, or the PWJ team from New York is Sirens, but that was an ode to their firefighters and their police officers.
That's exactly right.
Made a little more sense.
Yeah. So there you go. Might be my favorite WNBA team. Let's take a break. When we come back, we expect Brian Cashman to join.
Blake Cashman.
I said Brian.
Brian needs to be the GM for the Yankees.
I think he still might be.
It might be Blake's dad. We can ask him.
We'll ask him that. So Blake Cashman will join us, Vikings linebacker. Our coverage of training camp 2026 continues here at Winter Park, the new Winter Park TCO Performance Center. Take a short break. Come back with more after this here on The Fan.
You're listening to Common, live from training camp on the